Pepperoni is a story written and narrated by me, so let's start this right now. This story takes place in the bedroom. Lane invited his friends Astri, Nahem, and Elixo over. Astri was a sports fanatic, and he was athletic. Nahem liked to play games. He liked games like action, adventure, and strategy. He would play casually and competitively. Elixo usually just studied and did homework. Lane's family was on vacation and would be coming back home after the weekend, which was almost up. Lane shared similar qualities and interests that they all had, but he would always have different hobbies and activities that he liked. Lane was laying in bed with his hands behind his head as he stared up at his ceiling fan, smiling. Nahem was playing a handheld game. Well until the battery went out. Astri was sitting playing catch with himself, while Elixo wrote down notes for class. Lane, want to play sheet versus stone? Nahem asked. Not right now, maybe later, Nahem, replied Lane. Man, he's just thinking about that girl again, Astrid implied. No, I'm not. I'm just relaxing, Lane claimed as he continually looked up at the ceiling. Nahem decided to watch a movie, so he turned on the TV, but there was only static. That's when a strange commercial came on. It sounded like some kind of cryptic cowboy began speaking. Howdy, civilians of Earth. Want to know why this commercial is so darn hilarious? Well, that's because the pizza we serve and deliver, by the way, is out of this world. No, literally, it is. If you don't believe us, order now. Buy 0, get 4 free. If you received this commercial, then our menu is already at your doorstep. As the commercial went off, an eerie silence took over the room. Everyone had stopped what they were doing. Elixo's pencil slipped out of his hand. It fell and rolled across the wooden floor. Astri dropped his ball, and Lane finally stopped looking at the ceiling and sat up inside his bed. That's not possible, Lane said. Well, man, I'm hungry anyway, so I can go check it out if you want, Astri volunteered. Brother, no. They could be trying to lure us out into the open, right into a trap, Lane told them. They all headed downstairs. Guys, I don't think we should do this, Elixo cautioned. Lane put his hand on Elixo's shoulder. Brother, it could be nothing. I mean, a buy 0, get 4 free? In this economy, it can't be real, Lane stated. Man, well, that's free pieces for us then. Joke's on them, Astrid commented. You know what we need? Operation Nahem, suggested Nahem. So Nahem explained his operation. He wanted Lane to grab whatever it was while Elixo watched. He wanted Astrid to stand behind the door to push it just in case Elixo sees anything. And Nahem would be holding Lane's shirt to pull him back in if he needed to. They tried this operation, but all it did was result in Lane's hand getting bruised. Cause Elixo got startled, causing Astrid to slam the door shut onto Lane's hand. Ah! Lane groaned. Elixo, why did you do that? Nahem asked. Sorry. I thought I heard something, Elixo apologized. Okay, everyone, back in position. We have to get that menu, Astrid commanded. What about Lane's hand? Elixo asked. He still got one good working hand, so he can push that door while I grab it, Astrid replied. That's messed up, Nahem commented. What? That's what we learned in ball play. You only need one good hand to throw that ball. That's what coach always say, Astrid explained. Sometimes, Astrid, your ignorance is astounding, Lane told him. Well, what do we do now? Nahem asked. Without saying anything, Lane opened the door and walked out of it and closed the door behind himself. He came back in seconds later with the item and handed it to Nahem. Here you go, Nahem. Lane said as he sat down at the table. He thought about that operation and how it could have been handled in a better manner, and that if he had done that at first, he could have avoided a bruised hand. Alixo came over with a compressed cold ice package. Here, Lane, for your hand. Oh yeah, I know I already said it, but sorry again. Alixo repeated. Lane looked up at Alixo and shook his head, then smiled. It's not like you were the one who pushed the door, so don't tear yourself apart. You'll just be torn over nothing. Besides, I'm okay, Lane assured Alixo. While Alixo and Lane were having a warm, heartfelt conversation, Austri and Nahem came over and slammed the big item on the table. The loud impact startled them. Nahem's eyes were filled with excitement as he presented the item. Guys, look at this. This thing. Nahem paused for a moment, then continued speaking. I don't have the words for it to explain it, Nahem said to them. Lane started to observe it. He noticed it was big, yet Nahem and him were able to carry it with ease. Lane picked it up in amusement. The thing is as light as the thinnest of fabrics, yet the material looks like it is made out of something with a hard texture, Lane told them. They all felt the material and could easily confirm it wasn't made out of iron, metal, silver, plastic, or for that matter, any material that they knew of. What are those things on the surface? Alixo asked. The things Alixo was talking about was the pointy objects that were moving on its own. They could be buttons, Lane answered. If they were buttons, then they weren't ordinary buttons. Most buttons were circular and didn't move on its own. It was like a strange electronic, if they wanted to call it that, but it wasn't ran by electric nor batteries. What should we do with it? Nahem asked. Austri folded his arms. That's simple. We should learn to operate it so we can get our food, Austri replied. Lane's facial composition became intense. No, Austri, I'm not playing into your incompetent ideas no more today. This thing could be an explosive or intercepting us. We don't know how dangerous this thing is. We should dispose of it, Lane insisted. Alixo tried to figure out a solution to make it fair. How about we vote? The sides with the most votes get to choose, Alixo negotiated. All except Lane nodded in agreement. The votes were a tie. Lane and Alixo voted together while Austri and Nahem voted together. So they decided to play sheet versus stone, Lane and Alixo versus Austri and Nahem. The rules to the game were simple. One side would get stone and the other side gets sheet. Then you have to compete to see who can throw or get theirs the furthest. So they did random pickings. Lane and Alixo got sheet and Austri and Nahem got stone. This is a game they made up and would usually play when they were bored. They all made their way back upstairs and opened the window. Okay, Alixo, let's strategize. We usually play this for fun, but we have to win this one because they don't know what they are doing, Lane explained. The only thing was Alixo wasn't very good at this game. Also, Lane's hand that he throws with was still bruised. I will try my best, Lane added. Austri and Nahem was wetting their rocks to increase the weight. Lane took out several sheets of paper. Alixo, Austri has the advantage since he specialized in throwing ball. So I'll make a paper airplane and a paper football for you, Lane informed Alixo. Nahem went first and his rock fell in the middle of the street. Then it was Austri's turn. He threw his rock as hard as he could. It went completely over the street, right over Nahem's rock, falling right by the curb. Now it was Alixo's turn. Alixo plucked his paper football, and it didn't even make it over Lane's trash can. That made Austri and Nahem chuckle to themselves. Alixo felt bad, so he apologized to Lane. It's okay, brother. You did great, Lane complimented. Now it was Lane's turn. Lane took the paper plane and fully extended his arm. He then backed up and went forward, putting all his body weight into the throw. The paper plane was nearly over the rooftops. "You got it, Lean," Elixir said as he celebrated early. The laughter of Nehem and Astri suddenly stopped. Lane's paper plane went over Nehem's rock and it was about to do the same to Astri's. Lane started to smile and nod his head at Elixir. Just as it was about to land, a bird flew by, colliding with the paper plane. That threw off the acceleration of the paper plane, sending it into a downward spiral. It then landed just a couple feet behind Astri's rock. Lane pushed his hand into the window ledge in frustration. Astri looked at Lane with a grin, like he knew he had lucked up. "What can I say? Sometimes paper beat rock, but not in this game," Astri teased. "I should get another throw, since mine was interrupted," Lane reasoned. "You know the rules, Lane," Astri replied. Lane nodded and straightened his posture. "Oh, the rules. Yeah, every throw is absolute. Just know your carelessness can affect us all," Lane told Astri. Astri turned his head as if he didn't want to hear what Lane was saying. "Come on, Nehem, let's activate it," Astri said. They took the strange object and pulled the pointy buttons, and then the room got bright. It was like the sun was inside of the room. The shine was so intense they all covered their eyes, and even then they could still see the light penetrating it. This went on for a couple seconds before stopping. When they opened their eyes, they all had temporarily impaired vision and dizziness. Alexo fell on his butt. Nehem crumbled down to his knees and palms. Lane tried to keep standing, but it was hard to balance. He had to use the wall to catch his fall. Astri was laying on his back. He had it the worst since he was closest to it. They all called out to each other to check on one another. Everyone except Astri confirmed that they were okay. When their sight was restored to normal, they elevated Astri's body and helped him sit up. That's when the strange object opened up and a projectile light started emanating from it. It was like the projector at a movie theater. The only difference was that the projector worked in mid-air. It didn't need a surface. "What is that? Is that some sort of artificial intelligence?" Elixir asked. Lane looked at it with a concerned look. "I'm not certain," Lane answered. "Stay back," Lane added. As he approached its interface, the hairs on his body started to stand up. He moved his fingers near it and it made his hands feel warmer the closer it got. That's when a pizza menu started showing. It was showing strange looking pizzas. Astri finally recovered and joined them. "Cool, so it actually works," said Astri as he ran toward the projector lights. Lane tried to stop him, but he couldn't. Astri ran into the projector and it sent him tumbling backwards. "Ah!" Astri groaned. They all were speechless at how the projector light was solid, as if it was physical yet still see-through. Nehem interacted with the projector light coming from the strange object. "Look at all the pieces they got," Nehem says. "None of those pieces are real," Lane implied. "We won't know until we place our order, will we?" Astri stated. "What makes you think they aren't real, Lane?" Elixir asked. Lane used his hand to go through the menu. "Just look at the pieces. When did pepperonis become blue, yellow, or green?" he asked them. They didn't notice it at first, but after a closer look, they realized he was right. The pepperonis was colorful and the dough and cheese seemed off. Lane saw that he got their attention, so he figured it was an opportunity to convince them even more on how fake it was. "It's not just that. Look at the title descriptions of the pieces. Stargazer's Crust Pizza, Triple Planetarian Sauce Pizza, Spicy Volcanic Cheese Pizza, Deluxe Galaxy Pizza," Lane told them. "Well, we should find out then," Astri suggested. "You really want to go further with this even after all of this?" Lane asked. "This thing gave us all physical alignments. Though it was temporary, that is still alarming," Lane added. "I guess it won't hurt to try. If it isn't real, these pieces won't even show up," Nehem said. "I suppose you're right," Elixir agreed. Once again, Astri managed to win majority in his favor. So he started to place the orders. Lean, come on, man. You know I wouldn't leave you out. Besides, it said buy 0 and get 4 free. So what do you want on your pizza, man? Astrid asked Lean. Lean laughed his questions off. He was very annoyed about their approach to the whole matter. You know what, Astrid? Your pick, brother. Oh yeah, just no pepperonis. Lean answered. Lean made that order because he anticipated that it isn't likely to even come. They all waited for a knock or to hear the doorbell ring, but there was nothing. Then a strange object started pushing out 4 large circular-shaped boxes that didn't feel like the texture of normal cardboard. The object pushed them out one by one. To their surprise, the pieces looked exactly as advertised. It increased their 5 senses, made their mouths water, and their stomachs growled with hunger. Astrid reached for the first slice, but Lean moved his hand and closed the circular box pizza. That thing is not even adequate in size to fit 4 large pieces in it, yet it pushed 4 pieces out one by one. They are still hot as if they were just made. There is nothing in that object, so where did the pieces even come from? And that is not strange to y'all at all. Lean questioned them. We have all recently seen a lot of strange things. A couple bites won't hurt. If you don't want your pizza, then don't eat it. But me, Naheem, and Elixo, we can eat it if we want. Astrid replied. Lean let them proceed to eat it, but he refused to, although he felt the overwhelming feeling to indulge. And eventually he gave in. He took a bite of each variation out of the types of pieces they got. One slice of pizza weighed a whole pound. They were like the definition of delicious. So good, Lean muttered as he uncontrollably devoured the pieces. Their stomachs was packed. Then a strange object pushed out 4 drinks which they drank to wash the pieces down. They didn't even find it strange anymore. They couldn't describe the flavor of the drinks or the pieces, but it became their best, most favorite pizza. Astrid noticed a map stuck to the bottom of one of the boxes. He handed it to Lean. What is this? Lean asked. I think it's some sort of map, man, Astrid replied. Lean examined the map closely and found words written on it. If you like this pizza, this map will lead you to our best one, Lean read. Oh yes, man, we have to do it, Astrid insisted. Naheem and Elixo nodded in agreement. It was like the pieces had them hooked. No, this is already strange enough. I also have an important partner project in class to complete when I get up. Man, come on. What harm will a little more adventure do? We can all go before class start, Astrid stated. Lean wanted to outright say no again, but instead he just said, I'll think about it. It was getting late, so they decided to go home. Lean walked them out to see them off. Astrid was about to throw away the pieces that they didn't eat. Just as he was about to, an old man came up the sidewalk. He appeared to be homeless. The old man had a bottle in his hand, and he had a staggering walk. He stumbled and nearly knocked over Lane's trash can. He looked at Astrid as he was about to throw away the pizza. That's all you teenagers do, is waste food. I can see you now. Your toast, juice, and cereal being thrown away or put in the garbage disposer at breakfast, 'cause you're spoiled, said the homeless old man. The old man's spit was splashing all over Astrid's face. Get a job, you drunk, Astrid angrily blurted out. Lean stepped in front of Astrid and took the pizza out of his hand and handed it to the old homeless man. You all right? I apologize for the words of my friend, Lean says. The homeless man took the pieces and went on his way without saying another word. Lean, why did you do that? I prefer the rats to have that pizza than before giving it to him, says Astrid. I did it 'cause he's correct. The dishes in restaurants that don't get sold get thrown away. Even the dumpsters around here have so much food that have never been opened. We should show compassion instead of belittling people like that. It is possible that no one is exempt from that. You don't know what they went through to become or get like that, Lean explained. Astrid just listened and tried to understand. After Lean was done talking, he shrugged his shoulders and walked off. Elixo looked at Lean. Do you know how he became like that? Elixo asked. I don't know, but I heard rumors that he went through something and was never the same after that, replied Lean. Astri, Nahem, and Elixir went home. Lean got in bed and thought about the highlights of his day, how a commercial led to acquiring a strange object that was currently downstairs inside his house that was able to give him and his friends pizza. He also thought about the map. It was all too strange for him to think about. He drifted off into a deep, cozy, relaxed sleep. When Lean woke up, he grabbed the mat and went outside to meet them. He was feeling rejuvenated and adventurous. All of a sudden, Lean felt red sauce dripping on his forehead. What the? He thought to himself. He looked up and then saw sauce with pepperonis falling from the sky. The pepperonis was gigantic, and it weighed a ton. How it smashed vehicles on impact and left big craters inside the ground. Lean started to run, but then noticed a giant tsunami of cheese heading in his direction that scorched everything inside its path. His entire neighborhood was engulfed in cheese and flooded by the pepperonis. The cheese was about to swallow him up, and the pepperonis was right above him. Then he saw the strange object hovering beside his head. The cheese covered him as the pepperonis was about to crush him, as the strange object lashed onto his face. Lean let out an agonizing scream as terror overtook him, and he woke up. He was drenched in sweat and breathing hard. It was just a dream, Lean thought to himself. He pulled the covers off and ran downstairs to see the strange object innocently sitting where he left it. Lean then opened the door and looked at the sky, and into the far distance there was no cheese or pepperonis. He inhaled and exhaled in relief, then got back in bed. He tried to go back to sleep, but it was difficult. When he finally dozed off, something woke him right back up. He heard thud sounds against his window like something was hitting it. The noise was followed by someone yelling. It was Astri's loud mouth. Lean! Come on, man! We rung the doorbell. We know you're up. You always get ready for class around this time, Astri yelled. Lean ignored him as he saw a small rock hit his window. Man, me, Nahem, and Elixir would feel a lot better if you was with us. Is this because of what I did to your hand? Or what I said to the old man? I'm sorry. Please, man. Astri begged. Lean, I don't like this either, but they are making me go too. I can't do this without you, Elixir pleaded. Yeah, what they said, added Nahem. After the nightmare, Lean didn't want to do it, so he continued to pretend like he didn't hear them. His friends stood outside waiting. So much for that adventure. Let's just go to class, Astri said as he turned around to walk away. Just as they were about to leave, Lean came out. Lean had his hands in his pockets. What's up? Well, let's go, Lean calmly said as he walked ahead of them. You made us beg just so you can have that cool entrance? Astri said as they all started to laugh. Although Lean made it look that way, that wasn't it. Lean felt bad for Elixir, since he was being forced to go there. He also didn't want to leave Astri in charge. That was like a disaster waiting to happen. They used a map to get to the location. The place looked like an isolated construction site. They decided to split into groups to find it. Elixir went with Lean and Nahem went with Astri. While Lean and Elixir was looking for it, they saw Nahem frantically running in a panic towards them. Nahem was stuttering and he could barely speak. Nahem, what happened? Lean asked. Astri, it's Astri. We were walking, then Nahem anxiously muttered. Y'all were walking, then what, Nahem? Then what? Lean yelled. We walked in this building, and the floor started breaking, and Astri, he, I don't know if he made it out, said Nahem. Lean had Nahem point him in the direction it happened in. Lean put his hand on Elixir's shoulder. I need you to get Nahem to calm down while I go find Astri. Can you do that for me? Lean asked Elixir. Elixir nodded, yes. Lean looked and looked, but there was no sign of him. He then started to hear a faint voice screaming from some ran-down building. Lean saw Astri land on his side, hanging onto a vertically slanted floor that he was sliding off of. It looked like the floor could break at any moment. It was only one floor up, but Ashley wouldn't jump, and Lane wondered why. Lane ran to the entrance to rush in to try to catch him. "Stop! There's no floor in there!" Ashley screamed. That helped Lane, and he was able to stop himself before falling into the abyss of the building. He now understood why Ashley didn't jump down. It was because he couldn't. "Ashley, you have to jump to the window above the entrance, then climb over it so I can catch you. You can do it, brother," Lane said. Although Ashley had an athletic background, he was afraid of heights, and that could cripple his confidence. I'll try, man," Ashley said anxiously. Ashley jumped and was able to grab the window ledge. "Good, Ashley, now climb down," Lane instructed as he waited for him. "I can't, man. My grip is giving out," Ashley yelled as he fell. Lane hurried to catch him and managed to grab him by the wrist, securing a tight grip on him. "Lane, pull me up, man. Don't let me fall, please," Ashley begged as he started to cry. I'm trying," Lane repeated as he pushed his body weight down and dug his shoes into the ground. Then he was about to grab onto something sturdy so he could go to his knees and pull Ashley up, but was reminded of the bruised hand as he tried to hold something. The excruciating pain instantly made him let go of what he was trying to hold with his bruised hand. Also, his grip on Ashley's wrist started to loosen. He now only had Ashley's hand in his palm. The sweat and friction and Ashley's body weight was wearing out his grip strength quickly. He felt like he couldn't hold on any longer. So he tried to call for help. "Nahem! Alexo! We need some help!" Lane screamed out. "It's no use. Lane, you can just let go. Man, just tell my..." Ashley said as he was interrupted by Lane. "No, be quiet. I won't let go," declared Lane. When Lane heard Ashley give up, it gave him an adrenaline rush and a determination to save his friend. He went to his knees and grabbed the cement with his bruised hand. The adrenaline rush helped him push through the pain. He used his upper body to pull backwards, and he pulled with all his might, lifting Ashley high enough that Ashley could push himself up. Lane used that as leverage to pull him out the rest of the way. They both laid there exhausted. After they caught their breath, Lane sat up and stared at Ashley. "Are you okay, brother?" Lane asked. "Yes, thanks, man. That was so close," Ashley replied, with his hands wrapped around his face in relief. "Yeah, it was," Lane said. "I told you only need one good hand, see?" Ashley joked. "You just had to ruin it," Lane said as he looked at Ashley and smiled. "Now I feel like I got two bad hands, so when we get to class, you are carrying all my supplies," Lane added. "Man, come on, anything but that. You all right, though. I owe you, and I realize this isn't worth it. Forget this adventure. Let's go to class," Ashley said as he helped Lane stand up. "Okay, brother. I'm glad you get it now," Lane told Ashley. Lane looked in the alley behind them and saw a strange object, similar to that one at his house. "Quickly, Ashley, go get Nahem and Elixo. I think I found what we were looking for," Lane commanded. Ashley nodded and sprinted to where they were at. Lane got closer to the object and observed it. It looked like a lunchbox, but the design was off. The lunchbox started emanating a vibrant mixture of colors. Ashley found Elixir and Nahem and told them about what happened. On their way back to Lane, while they turned into the alley, they witnessed something horrifying. Lane was being sucked into the lunchbox. It was like he was being stretched, compiled to fit inside it, and it also seemed like he shrunk at the same time. The lunchbox closed and started to violently shake and vibrate on the ground, causing a miniature earthquake. Ashley ran to the lunchbox and started repeatedly slamming it against the ground. "No, no, no!" he yelled. Elixir restrained him. "Stop, Ashley. You might break it. We could still have a chance to save Lane, but not if it's broken," Elixir said. Ashley put the lunchbox down and started sobbing hysterically. "He just saved me, and I could do nothing to save him. How can I call myself a friend?" said Ashley. Both Nahem and Ashley were breaking down. Elixir tried to keep them together and provide them with optimism. "Ashley, Nahem, we have to take the lunchbox to class. I will try to figure out a way to get Lane out," Elixir stated. They all went to class, but by the time they got there, their first class was already over. So they went to the cafeteria instead. They were first in the cafeteria. The janitor was still mopping the floors and wiping down the tables as the lunch ladies prepared the meals. The aromas of food and cleaning products filled the air. When the students came in the cafeteria, it became crowded and noisy. Ashri wouldn't speak or touch his food. Ashri was talkative and really liked to eat. So when he didn't do that, Nahem and Elixir knew something was wrong. Elixir kept trying to find a way to open the lunchbox. He wondered why it ate Lane and not them. A girl walked up to Ashri. She tried to read them. Ashri, where's Lane? We were supposed to be working on a partner project together, she says. Ashri ignored her. Never mind then, she says as she walks over to Elixir. What's his issue? Why is he acting like I'm invisible? She asks. Elixir looked at her. I can't say, Elixir replied. Jeez, why are you guys acting so weird today? But fine, then can you at least say where Lane is? She asked. Elixir was terrible at lying, so he nudged Nahem, motioning him to step in. Nahem tried to think of something to tell her. Oh, Lane has extreme diarrhea. He was pooping everywhere earlier. I bet his toilet despises him, Nahem said. The girl gasped as Nahem started to tell her more details. You should have heard the sound of his stomach. It was bubbling like a soup pot. Don't even walk by his house. Your nose might fall off. You know how shy and easily embarrassed Lane can get, but hey, you wanted to know. He told us not to say anything to anyone about it. Nahem lied. The girl became teary-eyed. My gosh, that's just horrible, she says. Nahem nodded. Yeah, the guy's probably diarrheaing right now, says Nahem. Now I know why you are so sad. You are worried about Lane. Thanks a bunch, Nahem, she says as she hugged him. Guys, I'm going to go get him some stuff to help his condition, so don't worry, she says as she walked off. You are welcome, Nahem told her. Ashri nodded his head in disagreement. He knew Lane wouldn't have liked that, because he was the one that knew his relationship with her went beyond friendship, but they wouldn't admit it to each other. But her and Lane had feelings for each other. But he understood that Nahem couldn't risk telling her though, because it was likely that she would tell everyone else. Besides, they didn't know how to explain to anyone that their friend was sucked up by a lunchbox, so they thought it was best to keep the truth to themselves. After she left, someone else came to their table. It was a boy. Let's refer to him as Trouble Starter. He was with his friend. They both walked up to Ashri. If it ain't Ashri the ostrich. That dude is as dumb as a dodo bird. Trouble Starter says as he laughs. Ashri just ignored him as well and stared at his cold tray of food. Oh, I know this game. Don't let the other dude trying to get you to react get a reaction out of you, Trouble Starter stated as he looked Ashri in the eyes. Trouble Starter then grabs a lunchbox. So, what's for lunch? If we like what's in the lunchbox, we won't beat you. Fair enough, Trouble Starter says. When Ashri saw him grab the lunchbox, he glanced at Trouble Starter but still stayed silent. Oh yeah, where's that punk Lane at? Trouble Starter asked. Ashri stood up and pushed Trouble Starter a couple feet backwards, right into his friend. Don't talk about him like that, Ashri shouted. Trouble Starter looked at his friend. Did he just push me? Trouble Starter says sarcastically. Trouble Starter adjusted his jacket and approached Ashri. Hey, sweetheart. I know you get emotional when you hear Lane's name, but don't you ever do that again, Trouble Starter says as he kicks Ashri in the stomach, making him collapse on the cafeteria floor. Trouble Starter grins after dropping Ashri, then he snaps his fingers and goes over to Nahem. Oh, what about you, Nahem? Wanna get smacked up too? You gonna try to take your lucky shot like Ashri? Trouble Starter taunted. Nahem nodded and made a gesture that said no. Trouble Starter shook his head in disappointment. So y'all dumbos only fight when Lane's around? He probably skipped school because he's tired of helping y'all, Troublemaker says as his attention shifts to Elixir. Oh, that's right. I forgot to thank you, Elixir, for doing my homework for me. But then I remember I don't have to, because you do it for free so that I don't beat you up, says Trouble Starter as he looked at his friend. Elixir, I like this dude. You know he don't fight back when I push him around? In fact, he never fights back, says Trouble Starter as he looks at Nahem. You know it's not my business, but you and Astri could learn a thing or two from Elixir, Trouble Starter says as he smirks and walks back over to Astri. You know it's a shame, Astri. Me, you, and Lane used to be like shampoo, soap, and washcloths. Lane was the shampoo, he kept our mindset good. You were the soap, you kept us clean. I was the washcloth, cause y'all used me to absorb all the dirt. Then y'all replaced me with Nahem and Elixir, Trouble Starter said. Astri got back up to his feet and frowned. You could have came back, man, if you fix your behavior, Astri said to Trouble Starter. Trouble Starter considered what Astri said. I don't think so, dude. Y'all never treated me equal. Just open the lunchbox, or do I have to do it for you? Trouble Starter threatened. Trouble Starter began to try and smash the lunchbox open by swinging it at the cafeteria table, but it was like the lunchbox was indestructible. What's with this thing? Trouble Starter muttered to himself. Everyone in the cafeteria put them in the spotlight. Won't tell me how to open it, Astri? Alright, I'll just take it with me, says Trouble Starter. Immediately, when he said that, the lunchbox Fahrenheit temperature shot up to 500 degrees, instantly burning Trouble Starter's hand, forcing him to drop the lunchbox. Trouble Starter ran to put his hand in cold water. As the lunchbox hit the cafeteria floor, it was still increasing in temp, causing steam to rise from the tiles, eventually sending off the smoke alarm in the cafeteria. So everyone started to evacuate except Astri, Nahem, and Elixir. All of a sudden, the lunchbox temperature went back down to its normal Fahrenheit. Astri grabbed the lunchbox, and him, Elixir, and Nahem ditched and didn't go to their other classes. They didn't want to let the authorities get a hold of the lunchbox, because if they did, then they probably would have no control over what happens to Lane. They went back to Lane's house with the lunchbox. It's my fault he's in there. It was my idea to find that thing, Astri said. No, Astri, none of us could have known something like that would happen, Elixir reasoned. No, Astri is accurate. It is indeed and entirely his fault, said the strange voice emerging from the lunchbox. They all took a big gulp as they heard the lunchbox speaking. Is that Lane? Nahem asked. Astri hunched his shoulders and stepped closer to the lunchbox. Lane, that you, man? Astri asked. No, but would you three do anything to save him? The voice questioned. Yeah, we would. And what did you do with Lane? Astri yelled. We can't tell you that information. However, if you like to save him, complete our puzzle, and he will give you the key to saving him. Elixir was good at puzzle solving, so he was confident he could do it. The strange object sent out a projectory light. Then they realized both the lunchbox and the strange object was connected. The voice spoke from the lunchbox again. This star name is Alamarone. The puzzle is to find the pepperoni, the voice said. The voice wouldn't talk again after that. The doll had scattered items located throughout sections of its body. They interacted with the projectory light and searched thoroughly to find it, but there was no pepperoni there as far as they could tell. There is no puzzle to solving this. Thing in that lunchbox is just messing with us, Astri shouted. Yeah, I agree. I've looked everywhere in this thing. The arm has different types of snacks in it. The knees has things like salt, sugar, and pepper bottles. The torso, Nahem said before Elixir interrupted him. Nahem, that's it, Elixir said, like he knew what they needed to do. He went to the knee. Guys, I think I got it. There is pepper in the doll, and the doll's name contains Rome. Also, the pepper is located in the knee. Pepperoni. The pepper in Alamarone's knee is where the pepperoni must be, Elixir revealed. Both Astri and Nahem was confounded. They didn't have any idea what Elixir was talking about. Can you repeat that again, Elixir? Nahem asked. Elixir became irritated at their inability to comprehend despite thoroughly breaking it down for them. Oh, it's nothing. I'll just try to see if it works, said Elixir. He opened the pepper bottle, and it was just as he expected. It was a red pepperoni inside of it. Upon finding it, the projector light disappeared, and so did the doll Alamaro. Puzzle completed, the voice from the lunchbox announced. It looks like all that studying paid off. Now we can save Lane, Elixo said, as his confidence amplified. Nice. Good brain work, Elixo, Nahem complimented. Thanks, Nahem. It was because of you that I was able to do it, Elixo said. No offense, but we can congratulate each other after we save Lane, Ostry told them. They all nodded in agreement with one another. When you all are ready, stand near our material. Just know that to save your friend will come with sacrifice, the strange voice said. Nahem, Ostry, and Elixo all gasped when they heard that, as anxiety filled their body, but they still walked forward in front of the lunchbox, prepared for whatever awaited them. The lunchbox gravitational force reeled them in, like sea creatures caught with a fishing rod. When Lane got sucked into the lunchbox, it was like he was swimming in space, into something dark that created light. When he came to, he was alone. There was a pattern that was above him, below him, and on the sides of him. It was like another dimension, where the only sound was pure silence. His bruised hands were completely healed in this place. He could only hear himself until he heard a loud collision. He wasn't aware that that collision was a comet colliding with an asteroid. He felt lighter than air itself. He laid down and curled up, and tried to get used to the strange sensations he was feeling and the strange things that he was seeing. As he was laying down, he heard the voice of a lady. Hi there, boy. Are you real, or are you just another illusion generated by these monsters? The lady asked. I'm not certain. What is this? Lane asked. The older lady's eyes got wide as she placed her hand on his forehead. Poor boy. I vividly remember when I first got here. My memories were temporarily gone. How was I to know that going to that odd lemonade stand on my lunch break would subsequently place me here? The lady said. That's when it hit Lane. Lunchbox. It was the lunchbox, Lane blurted out. They are getting rather creative, aren't they? The lady stated. That strange object lured me here and my brothers into a trap. We aren't related, but that's what they are to me. I was the one to find the lunchbox. Then suddenly, I'm here, Lane told the lady. Same here. We were tricked by the same thing, but just in different ways, it seems. The lady says. Do you know where we are? Lane asked. We are on Earth, but inside space, the lady answered. Lane's mouth slightly opened as her answer surprised him. What? That is impossible, Lane says. What is impossible for us is just a small task for those monsters, the lady claimed. Them? Who is behind this? Lane asked. Who? You mean what? They are monsters. Beings from another planet. They use those objects on Earth to link to the objects on their planet. In this place, we have no mass, so we can travel at the speed of light, said the lady. That is unbelievable. How can you even confirm this to be true? Lane asked. 'Cause they have told me themselves that my hypothesis was in fact true, the lady stated. Then what do we do? Lane asked. There is nothing we can do. But one thing you shouldn't do under any circumstances, say yes to anything they ask you. Whether it's the path of enlightenment, wisdom, or knowledge, the lady said. What happens if I say yes? Lane asked. Let's just say something bad. Not just for us, but for the whole planet, the lady said. That gave Lane chills as he tried to grasp the complexity of what she was saying. So are they on our planet right now? If not, how were those objects created on Earth? Lane asked. That I don't know. Think of two sides of a field. We have our side of the field and they have their side of the field. They have the advantage since they can control, observe, and modify the whole field. However, they can't come to our side of the field unless we accept and say yes. I suspect that if we did that, that would enable them to travel to us and the Earth. Meaning they can't come to us face to face, but they can show us illusions, speak to us, and so on, the lady explained. So it is a gate basically that they need us to open. How long have you been here? Lane asked. The lady told Lane that she's been trapped there since she was a young adult woman. She then wrapped her arms around Lane. You are just like the lady said before she stopped speaking. Never mind, when I think of him, it makes this place unbearable to be in, she continued. But I will comfort and support you as you get accustomed here, because there is no escape. I'm greatly sorry those monsters lured you here, the lady told Lane as she comforted him. She seemed like she was happy to be in the presence of another human again. She held Lane tightly as she hurtled her head into him. Thanks, I needed that. When I came here, I was all alone until you came, the lady whimpered. Well, I'm glad we found each other. It must have been hard to endure this all on your own. I can't imagine what this place put you through. I know you said there's no way out, but I have no intention on staying here. I will find a way out for both of us, Lane said. Her eyes watered. But you're just a boy. What will you do? She asked. I will do what I have to do, Lane answered. Let's try a little exercise, Lane added. What do you mean? The lady asked. As Lane drew in closer to her, putting his face beside hers, she blushed and puckered her lips as the nervousness swept her away. She embraced herself for whatever he was about to do and submissively invited it. He put his lips near her ear. Relax, calm down. I'm just trying to test something, Lane whispered. The lady became aggravated. Why didn't you just say that? You can't just lead a woman on like that, she whispered back. Immediately, the voice emerged. Speak at your normal bass decibels, said the voice, startling them both. That's when Lane knew that the beings from the planet couldn't hear them if they whispered. They can't hear us if we whisper. It's like being in a room with electronic playing music. Once you turn the volume down, it gets harder to hear, Lane emphasized to her. That's when the lady noticed what his test was about. Those monsters was eavesdropping on us, the lady whispered. I'm going to try to gather intel and best them at their own game. Just let me talk to them, Lane whispered. They won't talk. They usually never do. They only would if you asked to accept their enlightenment, the lady whispered. That's when Lane developed an idea that involved pretending to give them what they want in exchange for what he wanted. I want to know more about this path of enlightenment, Lane shouted out loud. Are you ready to achieve enlightenment? We only need one of you to say yes. The voice instantly told them as soon as Lane asked. Not yet. However, if you can manage to impress me by answering some important questions then I might consider it, Lane replied. The lady became enraged. What? Have you gone mad? Do you not understand what they are capable of? I urge you to reconsider. Don't side with these monsters. They are invaders of our world, the lady yelled. The look in Lane's face intensified. I have my own choice to make. This is not concerning you, Lane told her. Lane's sudden betrayal crushed her. Very well, we will answer your question, but first answer ours. If we find value in your response, you will be rewarded. Lane nodded okay. What are the questions? Lane asked. Answer them to our liking and we will answer yours. We only have 2 questions. Why are some of your human species ignorant and why are some intelligent? And is the ignorant more happy while the intelligent is more sad? Our other question is, who do you think deserves enlightenment? The strange voice asked. Lane was a critical thinker and knew every word in his response was crucial. He also had to assume they had their own answer already to these questions. The ignorant can become intelligent, and those with intelligence is still capable of ignorance. And both can be happy and sad, because there's other variables to it like mindset, perception, and personalized experiences. That is my answer to your first question. We are pleased with your response. We will update our data on this. Now for the other question, the voice asked. So, who deserves enlightenment? No one except those who willfully desire it. Because even if they are worthy of the enlightenment, it won't be appreciated if the individual doesn't want it. So only those who willfully desire this enlightenment should receive it. Lane answered them. Oh, we like this observation you conducted. It is sensible. It's easier to make them accept enlightenment if they want it. Now, as a reward, we will try to answer your questions. Okay, my first question is, how did you deliver those pieces to me and my friends? And what is this lunchbox that we are in? Lane asked. The way we sent those pieces is by replicating the pieces from your planet and using the resources on our planet to recreate it into something exquisite. The lunchbox you are referring to can store humans. What we sent the pieces from cannot achieve that. It can only send small materials and food through space, like maps and pizza, as long as it doesn't have any power. For example, like the lunchbox model, the voice answered. Okay, my next question is, how did you send those objects to Earth? Also, did my friends get a hold of the lunchbox? If so, are they in here somewhere too? Lane asked. We didn't create or send any objects. The models or us cannot physically travel through space at the speed of light. But inside this, we can initiate that. It was a human who created it. We got in contact with a human on Earth using the satellites. He created a model that's less durable than ours, but still is strong enough to resist fire. Perhaps maybe it can't resist acid. So we created a link after helping the human make it, but they stopped communicating with us. Your friends have it, but the model there uses solar power and the sun. Lane was surprised. They were giving out so much information. He figured it was because they concluded that he couldn't escape. Lane wanted to try and get closer to these beings by using humor. So you mean me and my friends were eating extraterrestrial pepperonis? Lane joked while laughing. Yes. Did you like them? The voice asked. They were the best I ever had. What's the ingredients? Like, what did you use? Maybe after our talk here, I can stop by your planet and grab another slice. Lane chuckled. Lane was strategically trying to formulate the most optimal way to save himself and the lady, since now he knew the lunchbox can eventually suck someone else in. He knew if his friends had it, then it was a high probability that they would be next. Your friends just completed our puzzle. They will be here shortly to sacrifice themselves for you, the voice claimed. That's absurd, Lane stated. You think it's absurdity? We shall see, the voice said. That's when Lane saw Ostri, Nahem, and Alexo right in front of him, but there was some kind of barrier between them. Here they are. You can see each other, but not hear each other, the voice told Lane. I thought you said you could only initiate that lunchbox when it had more power, Lane questioned. That was the truth. Your friends came here voluntarily, though. Once all three accept, they will be here completely, the voice explained. Lane! Lane! We're about to get you out, man! Ostri shouted, not knowing Lane could not hear him. All three of you say yes to come here. Afterward, at least one of you accept enlightenment. Make this sacrifice to save your friend, the voice instructed. Lane and Alexo made up this secret sign language during elementary. Only they knew it. Lane used that to communicate with Alexo. I refuse. Ostri and Nahem. We have to go now, Alexo insisted. Trust me on this, Alexo continued. That was enough for Ostri and Nahem, because Alexo usually wasn't aggressive, so they assumed there had to be a reason for it. Lane watched them evaporate through the barriers. When his friends came to, they were still standing in front of the lunchbox. Was that real? Nahem asked. Yes, it was, Alexo assured. Now follow me and leave the lunchbox here, Alexo continued. Ostri and Nahem were confused, but did as he instructed. He took them to his house where he filled them in. Lane said, what? Wait just one moment, Elixir, while I go over the details. So Lane wants us to get some acid, and he wants us to take the lunchbox and put it inside the acid before it turns night. Wait, I'm not done. Also, said the pieces we ate were sent to us by some things from outer space. Do you have any idea how crazy all of that sounds, man? Astrid questioned. Elixir nodded yes. Guys, I know it sounds that way, but that is what he said. Elixir confirmed. Great. That means either his sign language is off or that place pushed him beyond insanity, Astrid blurted out. He was the reason I refused. He said if we said yes, then we would possibly be endangering the whole earth. Elixir added. Astrid paced the floor, walking back and forth. He was trying to think of where he could get acid. He then remembered Troublestarter had a friend who worked in a company with stuff like that. They went over to Troublestarter's house. They knocked on the door. When the door opened, they saw Troublestarter. One of his hands were wrapped in bandages. Yeah, it's hard to do push-ups with a burnt hand, Troublestarter said as he sat down. So what do you dumbos want? Asked Troublestarter. What would you say if I told you the lunchbox that burnt your hand ate Lane and we need your help to decimate it? Elixir asked. Troublestarter raised his eyebrows. I would say you need to take your pills, and if you are not on meds, then you should be. Do y'all know what happened after y'all ditched earlier and class resumed? I'm talking about after you dudes pushed the button on your magical lunchbox to burn me. Well, that chick was going around saying Lane had chronic diarrhea, Troublestarter informed. And what she said is a lot more believable than what y'all are claiming, Troublestarter added. That's a lie. I told her that because I knew she would go around telling everyone. But what Elixir said is the truth. We need your help. Can you get some acid for us? Nahem requested. Some acid? What is this for, a science assignment? If so, just say that. Instead of coming in here, making up some lies about Lane and that lunchbox, Troublestarter shouted. Look, man, everything they saying is true. You saw it yourself. That lunchbox. You couldn't even break it, right? You felt how hot it became in just a matter of seconds? Are you going to help save Lane or what? Astrid asked. Troublestarter looked at his burned hand. Then he went in another room to make a call. He came out a while later. All right, dumbos. The acid will be at Elixir's house in a couple minutes. Just be responsible when using it, because that stuff is dangerous, Troublestarter warned them. They thanked him and walked away. Troublestarter exhaled. Astrid, sorry about that fight I started earlier, and for kicking you, Troublestarter apologized. It's okay, man. Sorry about your hand, Astrid said as they both nodded. I was jealous that you and Lane were having so much fun with Nahem and Elixir. You were right. It was my bad behavior that messed up things between you, me, and Lane. And I'm going to focus on becoming a better person. Oh, one more thing. You remember that time Lane took the blame for scrubbing his shoes with your toothbrush? I just want you to know that was really me. He said it was him so that we wouldn't fight, Troublestarter confessed. Man, I knew it, Astrid said as they both laughed. Inside the lunchbox, Lane and the lady was still trapped. After Elixir, Astrid, and Nahem left the lunchbox, a voice spoke to Lane. Your own friends who are the root cause for you being here just abandoned you. They even left the model and gave up on getting you out. Where were we? You said if I impressed you, that you would consider accepting the path of enlightenment, the voice reminded him. Lane realized these beings didn't notice it was him who had done all of this. Lane didn't know his resolve, or he didn't think his strategy was well thought out. But he was done thinking. He knew he had to act now, before his friends could put that lunchbox in acid if they were able to obtain it. They really left me here. Humans are disgusting, selfish, violent, and greedy. So I have come to my decision. I think humans do need enlightenment. That's why I want to replace whoever it was you were communicating with, and I want to take their place. I will be the bridge for our planets. I know you said you only need one person to accept enlightenment, but why have one when you can have many, receiving your wonderful enlightenment? With humans, one strong leader can control billions. I will rally people together for you to share your enlightenment with. But only if you use the method I suggested earlier, by only giving it to those who willfully desire it. I would also like a reward for leading humans to your enlightenment. I want to join you on your planet. I'm impressed about what you can do, and I'd like to know more, Lane announced to them. We have to think about this. We didn't think you would offer this, the voice responded. You traitor! Even if that is true, think about all the good on Earth, the people you love, life as we know it, the animals, and even nature, the lady reasoned. I am. That is all I'm thinking about. That's why this is the only way forward. Her eyes aren't open like yours. You are gifted among your species, the voice complimented. Yes, so do you accept my deal? I'll lead humans to enlightenment for refuge on your planet. If you accept, let me and this woman out. We have accepted your offer. We only will let you out. Besides, her model has been incinerated by your species who handled the waste, as it was disregarded as junk. Even so, why should we let her out? The voice questioned Lane. He was overwhelmed when he heard that. What this place did to her was cruel. Not being able to save her and just leaving her here felt wrong to him. Well, one reason is to build trust. Our deal is only those who willfully desire enlightenment. This woman refuses, so she shouldn't be here. Not only that, anyone else who comes here, she will tell them not to accept enlightenment like she tried to do me. So can't you just send her out through the model I came in? Also, could you teach me how to create better models on Earth? The voice stopped talking as if it was skeptical, and that put Lane in suspense. He didn't want to push too hard, but just enough. He tried to tell the voice what it wanted to hear. Lane hypothesized that if those extraterrestrials were not capable of traveling at the speed of light physically and only could achieve it by using these models that could initiate it, then that could mean that they wanted one human to accept, perhaps so they could control that human somehow, then send them back to Earth to create their advanced technology that the humans they work with couldn't. Also, that they use enlightenment as a way to lure humans, because they believe humans to be stupid and to be in need of enlightenment, since it's knowledge and wisdom, as if they needed that the most. Lane wasn't certain about any of that though. Lane kept waiting until finally the voice spoke. After closely evaluating your reasoning, we think it is sensible. It should be possible to send her out through the model you came in. We will help you create better models on Earth, so that yours can be almost as durable as ours. Keep them protected, because if all models on your planet breaks, then no human could return to Earth or receive enlightenment. They would be trapped in space. We will now send you both to Earth, but first, Lane, we will show you something to further impress you, the voice stated. Then Lane found himself on a planet. He couldn't tell whether it was real or illusion. What he saw was incomprehensible. The ground was black, and there was no grass or trees, or any water. There was 3 suns and 2 moons in the sky. 2 suns were setting, along with 1 moon. Then one larger moon was next to a smaller sun, making the skies look like a dark orange. It was neither day or night. The planet could also do a full orbit in just a matter of minutes. Lane then heard a voice. "Welcome to planet Zarniel," said the extraterrestrial. What Lane observed was a normal-sized head, oval-shaped eyes, a flat nose but no mouth. Its color fluctuated. It had arms that were the length of legs and legs that were the length of arms. With a large body frame, Lane was frozen in fear by the visuals he saw. He tried to be brave and courageous, but it was hard, especially in this situation. He could only describe this as imminent danger. That planet looked horrifying, and he then understood why they would want to relocate to a good scenery such as Earth. They had floating objects that stood still in the air, even though their planet's gravity was 2 times that of Earth. Their technological advancements exceeded that of which was on Earth. The only liquid was some gooey substance. The extraterrestrial did not seem friendly, and he now understood why the lady called them monsters. This is just a small glimpse of how our planet would look if you were standing on it. After you help us enlighten half of the populated Earth, we will let you onto our planet, the extraterrestrial said. Then before Lane knew it, he was back on Earth. He successfully escaped the lunchbox. Lady, who are you? Lane's friends shouted. The lady was let out as well. She was smelling the air and rubbing the carpet. It was like a whole new experience for her since she forgot what it feels like. I was in there with the boy, she told them. Then they saw Lane, and he had a blank stare. His mouth was open, and he looked as if he saw something that really frightened him. They all group hugged him. Lane, man, you're back, Ashri said. Lane didn't move, flinch, or say a word. Something's wrong with him, Nahem alerted. They started to repeatedly call out to him, and would wave their hands in front of his eyes. Snap out of it, boy, the lady said. Eventually, when Lane came to, he shouted and was breathing heavily as he looked at Elixo. Elixo, did you get it? Lane blurted out. Yes, it's at my house, Elixo replied. Immediately, Lane grabbed the lunchbox and a strange object and ran to Elixo's house. They all were startled as they tried to keep up with him. Lane got to Elixo's house, and the extraterrestrial spoke to him. Where are you taking us? The extraterrestrial asked from the lunchbox. To your new home, Lane answered as he started to slowly dip both objects into the acid. What is this? You deceived us! The extraterrestrial shouted as its voice changed. Yeah, the same way you deceived me and my friends by luring us into trap after trap. Lane's friends and the lady finally caught up to him. They saw him talking to the extraterrestrial and lowering the objects into the acid. You hideous pest! Was cruel to keep that woman inside that sickening place. You're going to pay for everything, Lane yelled. No, we were just trying to show you humans enlightenment, the extraterrestrial claimed. Screw your enlightenment. That was just another lie anyway. Some of us humans have beliefs, knowledge, wisdom, and more enlightenment than you have. All you have is your garbage technology, Lane insulted. The lady then realized Lane never betrayed the Earth and was only pretending to. She was surprised that Lane's act was so good that it even fooled her. Wow, incredible! He only was there for a couple hours with me. He already found a way to escape. Way to go, boy! Make those monsters regret ever messing with us. Woo-hoo! The lady cheered. Yeah, Gramps, that's Lane for you. I never seen him get like this, though. Those things must have really pushed them too far, Ashri told her. Stop submerging us in this liquid! It is destroying the link between our planets! The extraterrestrial begged. The liquid is acid, thanks for the tip. And shut up. If there was a top worst planets list, then yours would be at the top of the list, Lane insulted. What? How did you do all this? The extraterrestrial asked. You underestimated me and my friends. That is your mistake, Lane answered as he dipped the objects deeper inside. Stop! This is the only objects we have left on your planet! If not for you, we could have taken over the whole Earth! The extraterrestrial told Lane. That won't happen. I won't allow you to hurt my friends, my family, the animals, nature, the abundance of life on our Earth. Not even the godly heavens that fills the skies on Earth, Lane declared as he completely dropped the objects inside the acid. They all watched the objects disintegrate inside the acid, as the voices coming out of them were distorted, eventually completely fading away. And once both objects completely was dissolved by the acid, they all felt liberated. Y'all feel that? That's the feeling of victory, Astrid stated. Lean, you did it. It's finally over, Nahem stated. Yes, brothers. That's a relief, Lean said. Then he went over to hug them all. Then everyone went back to Lean's house. They stood outside Lean's house, and Lean filled them in about everything that happened. Man, if I was there, I could have done the same thing, Astrid claimed, as they all laughed. Lean, how did you outsmart them? Nahem asked. I'm not certain, Nahem. Guess they weren't as smart as they thought they were. Lean replied. Things will finally go back to normal, Alixo stated. Yeah, Alixo, so I can go back to relaxing now, Lean added with a smile on his face. While they all were talking, the old man from the other day walked down the sidewalk and bumped into the lady. Are you okay? The lady asked. As she held him up, they both looked each other in the eyes, then started to cry. Sister, the old man muttered. Brother, it's really you, the lady whimpered. The old man dropped the liquor bottle he had in his hand and tightly hugged her. Yes, it's me. I finally found you, the old man sobbed. This boy rescued me, the lady informed. The old man grabbed Lean's hand. Thank you so much, young man, the old man cried as his tears fell on Lean's hand. The reunited siblings then went back to hugging each other. Lean smiled at the heartfelt moment and understood now on what the lady was talking about and why the old man resorted to alcoholism. He thought maybe it was a reason and meaning for all that happened, or it was orchestrated by something divine. Oh, this is beautiful, Lean said, as he heard footsteps behind him. It was a girl he was supposed to be doing a project with. She had a giant big bag in her hand. Lane, I was looking for you everywhere, the girl elaborated. Lane became flustered when seeing her. Well, here I am, Lane announced. What's with the bag? Lane asked her. Oh, I got you some stuff, silly. This is for your chronic diarrhea. This is for your irritated bowels. This is for your constipation, she said while blushing nervously. For my what? Lane asked her. Oh, Nahem told me all about it. You know, your condition. You know, the extreme diarrhea and how you were glued to your toilet seat, the girl explained. So I spent all my savings to aid you, the girl added. Lane looked at Nahem with a surprised look as both Astrid and Nahem quietly chuckled to themselves. Lane shifted his attention back on the girl. Thank you. That was so thoughtful and generous of you. But you really didn't have to. I'm completely fine. So you can get a refund for all of this, Lane assured her. I meditated, I prayed, and I guess my prayers were answered, she said as she started to cry. Lane's family was returning home at the same time from their vacation. Lane hugged her and rubbed her back. Lane's family came up to him and asked him, So, how was it? Anything interesting happen? I'm not interrupting your important moment with your girlfriend, am I? His parents asked. Both Lane and the girl became nervous. Everything was good. Some interesting things did happen, but mainly just the usual. And I don't know if she's my girlfriend yet, Lane nervously replied to his family. Look at all the new faces. You have a lot of new guests. How about we all go to eat and have fun? You, your friends, your new guests, and your girlfriend too. Lane looked at the girl before answering, as Alixo, Astrid, and Nahem nodded their heads and motioned him to make his move. I know we both partner up for projects because we got feelings for each other. And I want to be honest and not hold back how I feel anymore, especially not after the day I've had. So will you officially be my girlfriend and go out with me alongside my family and friends and build up each other? Will you enter into this beautiful companionship and relationship of love with me? My gosh, I would love to, Lane. She accepted. They both kissed. Then they all went out together, creating loving memories full of happiness that they will remember and cherish for the rest of their lives. Okay, so that's all I'm gonna do for this story. This is the first story I've ever wrote and narrated. It became more longer than what I thought it would be. So thanks for listening. I put a lot of work into this story, so share your input. Tell me what y'all think about the story. Because I never really posted anything like this, but yes, I am a writer and I would like to try to put out more things that I love doing. But yes, thanks for listening to the story. And that's all Leando got for this video. See ya.